current name, not a similar name, not a name that sounds like mine, my exact name. First name, same, last name. We're siblings. I want to be clear about something before I get into this, because my trans sister changed her name to my current name, not a similar name, not a name that sounds like mine, my exact name. First name, same, last name. We're siblings. I want to be clear about something before I get into this, because I already know how it's going to sound to some people. I'm not upset about her being trans. I'm not upset about her changing her name at all. I sent her a congratulations text when she came out 2 years ago, and I meant every word of it. I've never had a problem with who she is. That's not what this is. What this is that she chose my name, my actual name, not a version of it, not something inspired by it. The exact name I've had my entire life, that's on my driver's license, that my friends call me, that my coworkers know me by. She took it, and when I called her to talk about it, she made it very clear she doesn't plan to give it back. Let me back up. We've never been close. Not as kids, not as teenagers, not now. We grew up in the same house in a small town in the Midwest, and even then we existed in completely separate worlds. She was always a little quieter, a little more withdrawn, interested in things that didn't overlap with anything my parents or I were into. I don't say that to be mean. It's just how it was. We didn't fight. We didn't bond. We kind of just coexisted under the same roof until she left for college, and then we really stopped overlapping at all. When she came out, I found out through my mom. She sent me a text a few days later just to let me know herself, and I texted back saying I was happy for her and that I hoped she was doing well. She said thank you. That was the whole conversation. She was living in Portland by then. I'm in Chicago. We don't call each other. We don't visit. I think the last time I actually saw her in person was at my uncle's birthday party 3 years ago, and we said maybe 10 words to each other. So when I say we don't really have a relationship, I mean that genuinely. There's no bad blood. There's just nothing there at all. Then last month, my cousin calls me out of nowhere. She sounds weird on the phone, like she's trying to figure out how to say something. She finally just comes out with it. Says, "Did you know your sister is going by your name now?" I actually laughed. I thought she was messing with me. She wasn't. I went and looked at my sister's social media. There it was. New name in the bio. Pinned post, introducing herself to her followers, explaining the change, talking about what the name means to her. My name. My first name paired with our shared last name. If you didn't know us personally, you'd have no way of knowing we were two different people. I stared at my phone for probably 5 minutes just trying to decide if I was overreacting before I even did anything. Then I called her. She picked up, which honestly surprised me. I told her I'd seen the name change, and I needed to understand what was going on. She was calm about it. She said she'd loved that name for a long time, that she'd gone through a list of options and nothing else ever felt right, and that since we don't talk and don't live anywhere near each other, she genuinely didn't think it would affect me. I told her it does affect me. I go back home for holidays. My parents are still there. Friends I grew up with are still there. People who knew both of us as kids are still there, and a lot of them still follow her on social media, even if they're not in contact with her. Word travels fast in a small town. Half of those people probably don't even know she came out yet, and now the first thing they're going to find out is that she's also going by my name. That's going to generate exactly the kind of conversation I do not want to be at the center of every time I visit. She listened. Then she said she understood where I was coming from, but that her mind was made up. She was submitting the legal paperwork within the month. I didn't know what to say after that, so I just got off the phone. I called my mom. My mom had already had this exact conversation with her, apparently the same week my sister announced it, and it had not gone well. My mom said something she shouldn't have said, something that came from frustration but still crossed a line, and now they aren't speaking at all. My dad knows about all of it and has chosen not to weigh in on any of it. I respect that in a way because I also genuinely have no idea what the right play is here. I don't want to blow up whatever thin thread is left between us. I'm not trying to take something from her or tell her she can't be who she is, but I also can't pretend this doesn't feel like a strange, deliberate thing to do. Out of every name that exists, she landed on mine, and she had 2 years to pick one before she finally decided, which means this wasn't an impulsive choice. I keep turning it over and I can't find the angle where it makes complete sense. I don't know what I'm supposed to do with that. My trans sister changed her name.
My sister stole her best friend's baby name. Now I'm hiding mine. 3 years ago, my sister had her first baby, a little girl. She spent her entire pregnancy whining about how she couldn't think of a name. Then, literally days before she gave birth, she suddenly had one picked. Cute name, first and middle, very specific. Well, turns out that name was already picked by her best friend, who was also pregnant with a girl, and not just the first name, the exact same first and middle name. When her best friend confronted her, my sister basically shrugged and said, "First come, first serve. You can just pick another one." They ended up in this huge fight, and their friendship pretty much exploded. Fast forward to now, we're both pregnant again. This is her second child, my first. We're both having boys. She's due a few weeks before me, which means if I tell her my baby's name, she could pull the same stunt she did to her friend and claim it first. And I am not letting that happen. She's been asking for weeks what we're naming our son. She even casually asked what our girl name would be, just in case. I played dumb and made up a couple random names on the spot, but she saw right through it. She kept pushing, saying that sharing baby names is the fun part of pregnancy. I told her flat out no. Then she started asking in front of the whole family. My brother laughed and said, "Don't tell the baby name thief your name." She got pissed and asked if that's why I wasn't telling her. I didn't deny it. She started ranting about how I'm holding something against her that she never actually did to me. Mom even tried to convince me to share, saying, "If she uses it, everyone will know you picked it first." But I don't care. I don't want to spend my first pregnancy wondering if my sister is going to name her kid what I've been dreaming of naming mine. So I just looked her in the eye and said, "You're not getting the name. You'll hear it when everyone else does." And judging by the way her face dropped, she knows exactly why. Sister stole her best friend's baby name. Now
This is what my sister
stole my baby name, so I made sure she could never use it again. For as long as I can remember, my sister Claire has tried to compete with me. She's 2 years old. But whenever I achieved something, she found a way to one-up me. When I got engaged, she got engaged 6 months later. When I bought my first house, she bought one down the street, but nothing compared to what she did when I got pregnant. My husband and I struggled for years with infertility. After 2 heartbreaking miscarriages and countless doctor visits, we finally got the news that we were expecting. It felt like a miracle. From the moment I saw those 2 pink lines, I already knew the name I wanted for my daughter. My grandmother raised me after my dad passed, and my mom checked out. She was my entire world. Her name was Evangeline, and before she passed, she used to say, "If you ever have a little girl, I hope she carries my name." I told Claire the name one night when I was 3 months months pregnant. I thought we were having a sister moment. She smiled and said it was beautiful. I should have known better. 2 months later, Claire announced she was pregnant too. She acted surprised and thrilled that our babies would grow up together. I was genuinely happy for her until the family baby shower she threw for herself. As I walked into the decorated venue, I saw a giant sign that nearly knocked the breath out of me. Welcome, baby Evangeline. I froze. I thought it had to be a coincidence. But no, Claire got up and made a speech about how she always loved our grandmother's name and how it was perfect for her daughter. I pulled her aside after the speeches, trying to keep my voice steady. Claire, you knew I was naming my daughter Evangeline. She smirked and shrugged. Well, I'm due first. Nothing's stopping you from picking something else. I was stunned. My entire family just stood there awkwardly, pretending not to take sides. My mom even whispered, "It's just a name, honey." But it wasn't. It was the one promise I made to my grandmother. I went home that night and cried harder than I ever had through our infertility journey. But the longer I sat there, the more my sadness hardened into something else. Determination. If Claire wanted to play dirty, fine, but she underestimated me. I spent the next few weeks quietly gathering every piece of paperwork I needed. See, Claire hadn't actually filed any legal paperwork yet. She was calling the baby Evangeline, but hadn't registered the name officially. Meanwhile, I expedited my own legal name reservation with the state. In our state, you can pre-register a baby name for up to 6 months before birth, essentially reserving it as long as you provide proof of intent and identity. I filed everything: my pregnancy verification, ultrasound reports, and personal statement explaining the name's significance. The clerk was sympathetic and got everything processed in record time. 2 weeks later, I held the official document reserving the name Evangeline Grace Parker. Legally, no one else in the state could register the exact same name combination for at least 12 months. Claire found out when she went to finalize her hospital paperwork after delivery. She called me from the hospital room, furious. "You had no right," she screamed. "You're so petty." I calmly responded, "You stole the name first." "Claire, I just made sure you couldn't steal it again." She ended up naming her daughter Evelyn instead, which she now tries to pretend was her first choice all along. My daughter Evangeline was born 2 months later, healthy and beautiful. At the christening, my grandmother's best friend approached me with tears in her eyes. "She would have been so proud of you." My sister barely speaks to me now, but I don't care. Some promises are worth protecting, no matter how ugly the fight gets. My sister stole my baby name. My sister wants me to rename my dog because she's naming her baby the same thing. I have a 3-year-old golden retriever named Charlie, and he's been with me since he was a puppy. The name suits him perfectly. He's playful, energetic, and everyone loves him. Recently, during a family dinner, my sister, who's pregnant with her first child, announced that she and her husband are naming their baby boy, Charlie. At first, I didn't think much of it, but after dinner, she pulled me aside and asked if I would consider renaming my dog. She said it would be weird and confusing to have a baby and a dog named Charlie, and that I should change his name before the baby arrives. I was stunned. Charlie's been my dog's name for 3 years. It's who he is, and he responds to it. I told her I wasn't going to change it, but she got upset and argued that it would cause confusion at family gatherings when both the dog and her son respond to Charlie. I suggested she could give her son a nickname or call him something different at home, but she insists I'm the one who should change the dog's name because dogs don't care what they're called. My dad thinks it's ridiculous, while my mom thinks I should just change it to keep the peace. My sister's mad at me and says I'm an idiot, so should change my dog's name when my sister's naming her baby the same thing? My sister wants me to rename my dog because she's naming her baby the same thing.
My sister's gonna try to do my character.
My sister stole my baby name, so I made sure she could never use it again. My sister Sarah has always been the perfect one in our family. Valedictorian in high school, full scholarship to Princeton, married a successful plastic surgeon, lives in a massive house in the most exclusive neighborhood in town. Meanwhile, I'm a single mom working 2 jobs just to keep the lights on and food on the table. When I found out I was pregnant with my second child at 28, I was absolutely over the moon. My 5-year-old son Jake was so excited to be a big brother, asking me every single day if his sister was ready to come out yet. I'd always dreamed of having a daughter, and I knew exactly what I'd name her, Luna. It wasn't some random choice either. Luna was actually my childhood nickname because I was completely obsessed with space and astronomy. I spent hours reading about constellations and had glow-in-the-dark stars covering my entire bedroom ceiling. At our monthly family dinner at Mom's house, I couldn't contain my excitement anymore. "If it's a girl, I'm naming her Luna," I announced to the whole table while cutting into Mom's famous lasagna. Everyone smiled and said how beautiful and unique it was, but I noticed my sister Sarah's eyes light up in that particular way that always meant trouble was brewing. "Luna, that's actually really, really pretty," she said, way too enthusiastically for someone who usually criticized my choices. I never would have thought of something so creative. I should have trusted my gut instinct right then and there. Sarah never complimented me without an ulterior motive. 3 weeks later, Sarah made her own surprise announcement at Sunday brunch. She was pregnant too, apparently. What were the odds of that timing? And guess what name she'd suddenly fallen in love with after years of claiming she wanted traditional names? Luna. She even had the complete audacity to post this long, emotional Instagram caption about how the name Luna just came to her in a beautiful, prophetic dream, and how it represented new beginnings, celestial magic, and divine feminine energy. My entire extended family was commenting about how absolutely perfect it was for her sophisticated lifestyle. Some relatives even used those stupid crying emoji faces like it was the most touching thing they'd ever read. When I confronted her privately after brunch in Mom's kitchen, she played completely innocent with this fake, confused expression. "What's the big deal here? We can't both use the same name? That would be so confusing for the whole family, don't you think?" She actually had the nerve to suggest I pick something else since she was due 2 months before me. I was absolutely furious, but tried my best to stay calm and rational. "Sarah, you know this name means everything to me. You literally heard me say it first at dinner." She just shrugged with a smug little smile that I recognized from childhood. "Well, I'll be giving birth first, so technically I get first dibs on everything. That's how it works, right? First come, first served." But here's what my supposedly perfect sister didn't know about about her failure little sister. I work full-time at the county clerk's office downtown. I process birth certificates, marriage licenses, divorce papers, and legal name changes every single day. I know exactly how the entire system works, and more importantly, I know exactly how it can be carefully manipulated when necessary. So when Sarah's precious Luna was born first, just exactly like she had planned all along, I was the one sitting behind the desk processing all of her official paperwork. And somehow, completely by accident of course, there was a tiny clerical error on the birth certificate. Instead of Luna, the official legal document clearly read Lunar. By strict state law, you absolutely cannot change or correct a birth certificate for 30 full days after the initial filing date. And fixing what's officially classified as a clerical error requires the original processing clerk to personally sign off on all the correction paperwork. Guess who was mysteriously unavailable for an entire month? Suddenly I was taking all my accumulated vacation days, then I got sick with a persistent flu that just wouldn't go away no matter what. My actual Luna was born 3 weeks later, and her birth certificate was absolutely perfect. No errors whatsoever. Every letter exactly right. Sarah still calls her daughter Luna around family gatherings, but legally and officially, she's permanently stuck with Lunar forever. Every school enrollment, every medical form, every legal document for the rest of her life, it's all Lunar. And the absolute best part, everyone just assumes it was an honest clerical mistake. My sister stole my baby name, so I made...
Whoa! Sibling. My sister stole the baby name I picked first, so I made sure she couldn't use it legally. My sister stole my baby name, so I made sure she could never use it again. My sister Sarah has always been the perfect one in our family. Straight A's, full scholarship, married a rich doctor, big house in the nicest area. Meanwhile, I'm a single mom working 2 jobs just to keep the lights on. When I found out I was pregnant with my second baby at 28, I was so happy I cried in the grocery store parking lot. My 5-year-old son Jake kept asking every day, "Is my baby sister coming today?" I'd always wanted a daughter, and I already knew her name, Luna. It was my child.
Dolce. My little sister stole my baby name and gave birth first, so I gave my daughter a name she'll never forget. I'd been planning to name my daughter Sophia Rose since I was literally 14 years old. I had this whole Pinterest board with nursery ideas, wrote it in my diary about 1,000,000 times, even practiced signing birthday cards with "Love, Sophia's mom," like a complete weirdo. When I got pregnant at 23, everyone in my family knew this was the name. I'd been talking about it for almost 10 years, but my younger sister Emma always had to make everything about her. Growing up, if I got a new bike, she needed a better one. If I made honor roll, she suddenly cared about grades. When I announced I was pregnant, she immediately started trying to get pregnant too, even though she'd been with her boyfriend Tyler for only like 8 months and could barely afford rent on her studio apartment. 2 months after my announcement, she called me crying happy tears. "I'm pregnant too! We can be pregnant together!" At first I was excited. Sister pregnancies sounded cute. We could share maternity clothes, compare weird cravings, complain about swollen feet together, but then she started copying everything. I mentioned craving pickles and ice cream. Suddenly that was her thing too. I bought this gorgeous cream-colored crib from Target. She showed up with the exact same one 3 days later. When I posted bump photos in my favorite blue maternity dress, she bought the same dress in pink and posted almost identical pics. The worst part was she kept asking about names. "What are you thinking for names? I'm so stuck. You always have the best ideas." I stupidly told her about Sophia Rose because I trusted her. She nodded along, said it was beautiful, even suggested middle name alternatives. Then at 36 weeks, she went into early labor. I was still 2 weeks away from my due date, feeling like a whale and scared something was wrong. She texted me from the hospital. "She's here, 7 pounds, 2 ounces of perfect. Come meet your niece." I waddled into that hospital room with flowers and a pink teddy bear, so excited to meet my first niece. Emma was glowing in her hospital bed, holding this tiny, perfect baby girl. "Meet Sophia Rose," she said with the biggest smile. I literally felt my heart stop. "What did you just say?" "Sophia Rose Tyler," she repeated, like nothing was wrong. "Isn't she perfect?" The name just felt so right when I saw her little face. "You were right, it's such a beautiful name." I stood there holding wilted flowers, 38 weeks pregnant with my own daughter, watching my sister cuddle the baby who now had my name, the name I'd planned for almost a decade. Tyler was taking pictures, the nurses were cooing, and I felt like I was watching my dreams get stolen in real time. "Emma, that was my name," I whispered. She looked at me with fake confusion. "What do you mean? We never decided on anything official, and she just looked like a Sophia when she came out. You understand, right? You'll find something even better." I left that hospital room crying so hard I could barely see to drive. My husband Jake was furious when I told him. "She can't just steal your name," he kept saying. But legally, she absolutely could. There's no copyright on baby names. 2 weeks later, I gave birth to my own perfect daughter. As I held her in the delivery room, looking at her tiny perfect face, I knew exactly what her name should be. Not some backup option, not second choice. Something that would remind my sister every single day of what she'd done. I named my daughter Emma Rose. Every family gathering now is absolutely hilarious. "Emma, can you pass the salt?" "Oh wait, which Emma?" "Emma needs her diaper changed. Big Emma or little Emma?" "Emma's crying. The baby or the sister?" My sister can't complain because that would mean admitting she stole my name first. She gets visibly annoyed every time someone has to clarify which Emma they're talking about. At my daughter's first birthday party, 3 different relatives accidentally wished "Happy birthday, Emma" to my sister instead of my baby. The best part is my little Emma is already showing signs of being the favorite grandchild. She's smiley, sleeps well, and doesn't scream during family photos like her cousin Sophia does. My mom keeps saying things like "Emma is such a good baby" while bouncing my daughter, and my sister's face turns red every time. Last week at Sunday dinner, my dad was playing with little Emma and said, "This Emma is definitely the best Emma in the family." My sister got so mad she left early. Tyler texted me later saying she cried the whole drive home. My little sister stole my baby name and gave birth.
Ever wondered what your...
Do you want to know my full name? A lot of people don't know it.
Yeah, is this like a reveal?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
Christina.
Oh my gosh, you guys are...
Sorry, guys.
I didn't respond to my name at my own family reunion. They've been calling me by my sister's name for 6 years. My name is Kara. My sister is Mia. We look alike. Same dark hair, same round face, but we're two completely separate people with two completely different names, which I always thought was pretty basic information. 6 years ago, Mia had her first baby and became the gravitational center of my entire family. Around the same time, I moved 4 hours away for work. And I think somewhere in those two things happening at once, my family just kind of reassigned me. Mia was everywhere: the baby, the photos, the milestones, the Sunday dinners. I was the one who drove 4 hours twice a year to eat potato salad in my aunt's backyard. Somewhere along the way, they started calling me Mia. Not all at once. It started with my grandma, who's in her 80s, and honestly, I gave her a pass. Then my Aunt Donna, who's never been what I'd call detail-oriented. Then my uncle. Then a few cousins. By year 3, I was correcting someone every single visit. They'd laugh, say, "Oh, sorry," and do it again at the next gathering like the correction had never happened. By year 4, I just started answering to it because the drive was long and the fight wasn't worth it. By year 5, I started sitting with how strange it was that these people could look directly at me, hear my voice, and call me by someone else's name, and just feel completely fine about it. So I made a decision before this one. I wasn't going to correct anyone. I also wasn't going to answer. I'd just let it land in the air and go nowhere. The reunion was at my aunt's place, Saturday afternoon, her backyard, around 35 people. I got there around 2 p.m. with a pan of brownies and found my cousin Lena almost immediately. Lena has always called me Kara. Doesn't slip, doesn't catch herself, doesn't think twice about it. Talking to her, I actually felt like a person for a few minutes. Then Aunt Donna found me. She grabbed my arm and said, "Mia, you have to come see what they did with the porch." I kept talking to Lena. "Mia?" She squeezed my arm. "Did you hear me?" I looked up, scanned the yard like I was trying to figure out who she was talking to, then looked back at Lena and asked if she wanted something to drink. Donna made a confused face and wandered off. Lena glanced at me and didn't say anything for a second, then said quietly, "How long are you doing this?" I shrugged. "However long it takes." It happened 6 more times before 4 p.m. My uncle called me Mia, asking about the food table. I didn't answer. A cousin called me from across the yard and I kept walking. My grandma said, "Mia, come sit with me," and I felt something pull in my chest, but I went to the drink table and refilled my cup. Around 4, my mom found me. She had the look she gets when she's been working up to something. "People are saying you're ignoring them," she said low. "I'm not ignoring anyone. Donna said she called you twice. She called Mia twice." My mom went still. "I'm Kara," I said. "I've been Kara my whole life. I don't know who Mia is supposed to be, but she wasn't standing there." You know what she meant. Do I? Because every time I've corrected Donna, she laughs and does it again the next visit like I never said anything. So I don't know what she means. I know what she says, and what she says isn't my name. My mom glanced around. "This is not the time. It's never the time. That's literally why it's been 6 years." She walked away. I ate a brownie. At 5:30, my uncle came over directly, and he was visibly annoyed. He said, "Mia, I don't know what's going on with you today, but you've been rude to half the people here, and your grandma is upset." I looked at him. "I'm Kara, right? I know. No. What's my actual name?" He stopped. "My name, not my sister's. Say it." He opened his mouth and nothing came out for about 4 seconds. "My name is Kara," I said. I wasn't yelling. I don't think I even raised my voice. "You've known me my entire life. Your brother is my father. I've been correcting this at every single family event for 6 years, and not one person has ever actually fixed it. So if people are upset today, I think they need to think about why." He stared at me. Then he turned and walked back toward the grill without saying a word. I found Lena, said goodbye, got my brownie pan, and drove home. My aunt texted that night asking if I was okay. She addressed it to Mia. I didn't respond to my name at my own family reunion. They've been calling me by my sister's name for 6 years. My sister wants me to rename my dog because she's naming her baby the same thing. I have a 3-year-old golden retriever.
My sister stole my baby name, so I made sure she could.
My sister-in-law wanted my baby name so bad. Now she has to explain why her daughter is named after poop. My sister-in-law Brittany has been copying me since the day I started dating her brother. When I got engaged with a sapphire ring, she suddenly decided sapphires were her favorite gemstone. When I planned a beach wedding with Dusty Rose bridesmaid dresses, she announced her wedding would be beach-themed with Dusty Rose accents, scheduled 2 months before mine. When I mentioned wanting to honeymoon in Greece, she booked Greece and posted about it constantly so everyone would think I copied her. It's exhausting, but I learned to live with it. Then I got pregnant. Brittany was 6 months ahead of me, already showing, already obsessed with nursery themes and baby registries. At a family dinner, she cornered me and demanded to know what names I was considering. I knew exactly what she was doing. Whatever I said, she'd steal. So I decided to give her something worth stealing. I looked around like I was checking for eavesdroppers. I leaned in close. I whispered, "I probably shouldn't tell you because I don't want anyone to take it, but I'm completely in love with the name Milena. It sounds so musical and elegant, like a Greek goddess or a princess." Brittany's eyes lit up with that hungry look I'd seen 100 times before. "Milena," she repeated slowly. "That is pretty." I made her promise not to tell anyone. I said I'd be devastated if someone used it before me. I really sold it. 3 weeks later, Brittany gave birth to a baby girl. The Facebook announcement was immediate and obnoxious. A photo of the baby in a pink blanket with flowery text, "Welcome to the world, Milena Rose. Our perfect princess has arrived." She tagged the entire family. She tagged me specifically. The caption included a smug little note about how she'd fallen in love with this beautiful name and just knew it was perfect. I waited. I liked the post. I commented with a simple heart emoji. I bided my time. 2 weeks later, at the family gathering to celebrate the baby, everyone was passing Milena around and cooing over her. Brittany was basking in the attention, talking about how unique and special the name was. That's when I made my move. I was holding a glass of wine, standing near the dessert table, when Brittany's mother-in-law asked me if I was still considering Milena for my own baby. I shook my head with a practiced look of innocent confusion. Oh no, I could never use it now that Brittany chose it. But honestly, I'm kind of relieved. I did more research and discovered what it actually means. Brittany looked looked up sharply. What do you mean, what it means? I pulled out my phone and opened a medical dictionary website I'd bookmarked for this exact moment. Melina, I read aloud. Noun, medical terminology. Black, tarry feces containing digested blood, typically resulting from gastrointestinal bleeding, often described as having a distinctive foul odor. The room went silent. Brittany's face cycled through confusion, disbelief, and horror in about 3 seconds. You're lying, she said. Her mother-in-law was already typing into her phone. Oh my God, she whispered. It's real. It's on WebMD. Someone else Googled it, then another person. Within 60 seconds, half the room was staring at their screens reading about bloody stool while holding a baby named after it. Brittany started screaming at me. She called me a monster. She demanded to know how I could do this to her child. I took a sip of my wine. Brittany, I mentioned a name I was considering. You're the one who stole it without doing 5 seconds of research. That's not my fault. She tried to argue that I'd tricked her on purpose. I reminded her that I'd asked her to keep it secret and not use it. She was the one who couldn't resist taking something that wasn't hers. The birth certificate was already signed. In our state, you have to petition the court and pay fees to legally change a baby's name. It's a whole process. Brittany spent the next 3 months trying to get everyone to call the baby by her middle name, Rose, instead. It hasn't really worked. The family still slips up constantly. I gave birth to my daughter 2 months later. Her name is Ivy. Simple, beautiful, and medically meaningless. Brittany hasn't spoken to me since the dinner. The rest of the family thinks I'm either a genius or a sociopath, depending on who you ask. I prefer to think of myself as someone who finally stopped letting a bully walk all over me. She wanted to steal my baby name so badly, she got exactly what she deserved. Every time someone asks about little Melena's name, I hope Brittany remembers that some things aren't worth copying. My sister-in-law wanted my baby name so bad, now she has to explain why her My sister stole my baby name, so I made sure she could never use it again. For as long as I can remember, my sister Claire has tried to compete with me. She's 2 years older. But whenever I achieved something...
My sister made fun of my baby's name. 6 months ago, my sister Emma got a golden retriever puppy. She named the puppy Lila. At first, I thought she was joking, but she said, it's just a name. I thought it was cute. I was upset, but didn't want to make a big deal, so I let it go. My wife is having our first baby after trying for years. It's been a hard journey with fertility struggles and a miscarriage, but now she is 6 months pregnant with a baby girl, and we're so happy. Since I was a teen, I've loved the name Lila. It's special because my late grandma, Delilah, meant a lot to me, and this name honors her. My family knows this is my dream name, and my wife loves it too, so we decided to name our daughter Lila. Now everyone calls the dog Lila, and it's awkward for me. At my baby shower, my aunt laughed when I said we'd name our baby Lila and asked if I was naming her after Emma's dog. I felt embarrassed and hurt. I talked to Emma privately and explained how much the name means to me. She just rolled her eyes and said, it's just a dog's name. You don't own it. When I said it made things awkward, she laughed and said, awkward for you, not for me. Emma's wedding is in 2 weeks, and I'm supposed to be her maid of honor, but I feel like she doesn't care about my feelings and doesn't respect me. I told her I might not go to the wedding, and she got really mad and called me childish. My sister made fun of my baby's name.
Okay, wait. Look at this.
My little sister stole my baby name and gave birth first, so I gave my daughter a name she'll never forget. My sister sent a ranked list of better baby names to 40 people in our family. Mine was dead last. I named my daughter Elliston, my husband Nolan's mother's maiden name. She died when Nolan was 9. Ovarian cancer. He has 4 photographs of her and a ring she wore every day. That's all that's left. When I told my sister Tessa the name, she laughed for about 10 seconds straight. Then she said, Elliston, that sounds like a law firm. You named your daughter a law firm. I told her it was Nolan's mother's name. She said, Nolan's mom has been gone 20 years. He can honor her without making your kids spell that on every form. I asked her to stop. That should have been it. 2 days later, Tessa sent a mass text to 40 family members. A ranked list of names she thought would have been better. Elliston was dead last. Below the list, she wrote, pray for my niece. My Aunt Cora screenshotted it and sent it to me. I sat in the nursery and cried with the lights off. Nolan found me and read the message and walked out of the room without a word. 3 weeks later, Tessa came to visit. She brought a pacifier clip with a tag that said, hi, my name is actually underscore with a blank line. She thought it was hilarious. Nolan looked at the clip, looked at Tessa, took the baby upstairs and didn't come back down. Here's what you need to know about Tessa. She's been volunteering for a women's foundation called the Hargrove Fund for almost a year. Black tie galas. Silent auctions, the kind of charity where your outfit matters more than your check. It's run by a woman named Vivienne Hargrove. Old family, old money. Tessa worships her. She bought a $400 dress for their spring luncheon. She rewrote a thank you note 4 times because she wasn't sure with warm regards was formal enough. Tessa told me getting on Vivienne's board would change her life. 5 weeks after the pacifier incident, Nolan and I were at a bookstore downtown. A woman behind us in line smiled at the stroller. What a gorgeous girl. What's her name? Elliston, I said. She grabbed the edge of the counter. That was my daughter's name. I didn't know what to say. My Elliston passed when she was 17. Car accident. 11 years ago. I haven't heard anyone say that name out loud since. Her husband put his arm around her. I'm Vivienne, she said. This is my husband, Hugh. We talked for 20 minutes. She held my daughter. Nolan told her about his mother. They cried together in the middle of a bookstore. I thought that was the most beautiful coincidence of my life. I had no idea. 2 months later, Tessa invited the family to the Hargrove Fund's annual gala. She said Vivienne personally added her to the planning committee. She said this was her year. We showed up Saturday evening. Grand ballroom, string quartet, white flowers everywhere. Tessa met us at the entrance in that $400 dress. She leaned toward the stroller. Don't introduce her by that name tonight. Just say Ellie. I said nothing. We walked in. Nolan was carrying Elliston when a woman in a navy gown crossed the room toward us. Vivian. She saw Nolan, then the baby. Her hand went to her mouth. Oh my god, it's you. She grabbed Nolan's arm the same way she had at the bookstore. Hugh, come here. It's the Elliston family. Hugh walked over. Tessa appeared holding champagne. You know my sister? Vivian looked at her. Your sister? This is your family? They named their daughter Elliston. My daughter's name. I've told you about them, Tessa. I brought them up at the last 3 committee meetings. Tessa's glass tilted. Champagne dripped onto her wrist. You never told me it was my niece. Vivian stared at her. I told you twice. You said you didn't know anyone named Elliston. Silence. Nolan pulled out his phone. Didn't say a word. Open the screenshot from Cora. The ranked list. 40 recipients. Elliston dead last. Pray for my niece. He handed it to Vivian. She read it. Then she handed it to Hugh. Hugh looked up at Tessa. This is the name you ranked last. Our daughter's name. Vivian's voice went quiet. You sat in my living room and told me naming traditions were sacred. You told me you wished more families honored their dead. I didn't know. Tessa whispered. You didn't know it mattered to someone important, Vivian said. That's worse. She looked at Nolan and my daughter, then back at Tessa. You spent a year in my foundation performing a version of yourself that doesn't exist. And the one name in this world I would have given anything to hear again, you made into a joke for 40 people. My sister sent a ranked list of better baby names to 40 people in our family. Mine was dead last. I named my daughter Elliston, my husband Nolan's mother's maiden name. She died when Nolan was 9. Ovarian cancer. He has 4 photographs of her and a ring she wore every day. That's all that's left. When I told my little sister,
Stalking.
My trans sister changed her.
Stalking.
My trans sister changed her name to my.
Your sister is the prettiest. Hey, babe.
My sister stole the baby name.